You say I make you nervous, a tragedy, I'm a beauty.
BTS news today. Los Angeles never stops being the stage for behind-the-scenes miracles of the stars. That day, a studio rented exclusively by Big Hit Music's production team became the arena for moments that would never be forgotten by staff, photographers, and backup dancers alike. The sketch photo shoot for the concept, Permission to Dance on Stage Live, wasn't just a grand visual project designed for Jungkook's iconic comeback. It turned into a field of laughter thanks to the Golden Magne's unexpected antics. The atmosphere in the studio felt calm as the artistic team prepared the first set. Amid the bustling lighting technicians and stage crew, Jungkook had already arrived early, wearing an oversized gray hoodie, black pants, and no makeup, accompanied only by an almost empty iced coffee. His face still showed signs of sleepiness, but his smile was ever present. No one expected that in just a few hours, Jungkook would turn the studio into a laughter-filled playground with his signature spontaneity. This photo shoot was different. The concept involved an empty stage with dramatic lighting, reflecting the solitude of a performer standing in the middle of unseen applause. Jungkook had to convey a wide range of emotions solely through expressions and subtle movements, requiring intimate and serious scenes. But as always, it was in the midst of seriousness that the laughter began. The first scene required Jungkook to sit on the stage floor, with a spotlight illuminating only part of his face. But somehow, when the photographer asked for a calm pose with a longing expression, Jungkook let out a fake cough and glanced at the camera saying, "Hyung, this face looks like I'm lining up for a vaccine." The whole room burst into laughter, including the photographer who nearly dropped his lens. Before the laughter subsided, the makeup staff returned to fix Jungkook's slightly messy hair due to a stage fan. But as the stylist touched his bangs, he pretended to scream, "Ouch! My hair is sensitive. It's inherited from my great-grandmother." The stylist, who was already used to Jungkook's random behavior, sighed and smiled as she continued working, though her face clearly showed a desire to playfully pinch the idol. The funniest moment came during the dancer's shadow shoot. For this, Jungkook had to stand on one leg while his shadow was projected onto the wall behind him, as if he were dancing freely. The challenge was keeping balance. But who would have thought? Just as the pose took shape and background music played, Jungkook suddenly began singing a soap commercial jingle in an opera style, then dramatically collapsed to the floor. "This is the dancer's sacrifice when running out of water mid-performance," he said while laughing at himself. The entire room burst out again. The music stopped, the lights dimmed, but everyone laughed until tears rolled down. It didn't stop there. During the lunch break, when meal boxes were handed out, Jungkook secretly swapped Jimin's grilled chicken with tofu. Jimin, who had stopped by briefly to see the shoot, bit into his meal only to realize it wasn't chicken. He stared straight at Jungkook, who sat innocently whistling. "You think I don't know those tattoos on your hand?" Jimin said, pointing at Jungkook's arm. Everyone in the dining room laughed again. Jimin tossed a carrot slice at Jungkook, and they both ended up laughing together while sharing leftovers. After lunch, during the second photo session, another hilarious moment occurred. Jungkook attempted to spin elegantly like a ballerina, but lost his balance and almost fell off a small 30 cm platform. He rolled to the side and reflexively struck a kung fu pose, shouting, "That wasn't a fall. It was a BTS-style self-defense move." Everyone watching the monitor backstage couldn't hold back their laughter, while his manager just covered his face with a script, seemingly resigned to Jungkook's randomness. One senior photographer even said, "This is the most enjoyable photo shoot of my life." Shoots with this kind of concept are usually stressful, but Jungkook made it feel like watching a real-time BTS variety show. The most iconic moment came during the final part of the shoot, a scene where Jungkook had to dance slowly in a cloud of stage smoke. Red and blue lights reflected off his all-black outfit with fingerless gloves. Everything looked grand and mysterious. But suddenly, through the fake mist, Jungkook appeared doing a full-on robot dance completely off concept. "Permission to dance, but I think I grabbed the wrong permit," he said with a serious tone. Once again, the studio erupted in laughter. Yet behind all the laughter, one silent moment sent shivers through everyone. When the photographer asked for a pure expression, Jungkook stared into the lens, seemingly voiceless. No dialogue, no exaggerated pose. He stood there, arms hanging at his sides, light falling across only half his face. His eyes seemed to speak to thousands of army in the distance. The whole room froze. The photographer whispered, "That's it. That's the real Jungkook." But moments later, as if the seriousness got too intense, Jungkook blinked and said, "Please don't save that expression. My face looked like a wet cat." And laughter filled the room once more. As night fell and the shoot wrapped. Jungkook sat in the corner of the room, changing his shoes. A young staff member approached him and whispered, "Hyung, this is my first time working with BTS. I thought the shoot would be super intense, but you made everything so easy. Thank you." Jungkook smiled and patted the staff's shoulder. If you work while afraid, the results won't be great. But if you work while laughing, something amazing might happen. And that's exactly what happened that day. The sketch shoot, originally designed to be a grand visual showcase of a global star, turned into a small stage filled with warmth, spontaneity, and unforgettable moments. Jungkook didn't just dance on a visual stage. He danced into the hearts of everyone present. That's Jungkook, global idol, extraordinary performer, and a man with a personality like the morning sun, able to make anyone feel lighter, warmer, and more alive with just one smile, one joke, and one unexpected move. The photo shoot for Permission to Dance on Stage, Live, may only yield a handful of beautiful photos shared around the world, but those funny, loving behind-the-scenes moments will live on far longer, etched into the memories of those who witnessed the sincere brilliance of Jungkook. The Los Angeles sky turned from warm orange to deep purple. The studio grew quiet. One by one, the staff packed up, coiling cables, taking down lighting rigs, and stashing cameras into big aluminum cases. Yet Jungkook remained. He sat at the edge of the stage in the same hoodie from that morning, now messy from sweat and hairspray. But a soft light still gleamed in his eyes, as if the laughter of the day hadn't quite left him yet. Jimin returned to the studio. He brought 2 cups of bubble tea, apparently from their favorite spot since BTS first promoted in the US. He placed one beside Jungkook and quietly sat beside him, both of them gazing at the stage now lit only by emergency lights. No words were exchanged for several minutes, only the soft clink of ice shifting in their cups. "Hyung," Jungkook's voice finally broke the silence. "I almost cried earlier, but I just kept making jokes instead." Jimin smiled. "That's so you, Kook. That's just who you are. Even when you're holding everything in, you still think about how to make others feel less tense." Jungkook didn't reply right away. He stirred his bubble tea straw. Then, in an almost whisper, he said, "I don't know if I can dance the way I used to anymore. But today, when I pretended to fall, when everyone laughed, when you came, it felt like I was given permission to be myself again." Jimin turned to him. "And you know what? You don't need permission for that." Suddenly, the studio lights went out completely, a sign that the crew had shut off all equipment. The two were now lit only by the glow of outdoor streetlights slipping through the black curtains. But in that still moment, a soft chuckle escaped Jungkook.
Redemption never came. I stopped asking for forgiveness, 'cause you should know only fools tread where the angels fear to